The studio was louder than Kenma expected. Slick, open concept, full of camera gear and exposed brick. Someone was adjusting LED panels in the corner. Another person stood on a ladder, yelling something about lens glare. Everyone had headsets. Everyone looked like they were moving too fast. Kenma hated it instantly. He stood just inside the door, hoodie half-zipped, mask still on, phone in one hand. His assistant had walked him in, pointed him toward the prep room, and disappeared. Which was fine, Kenma didn't need babysitting. He just didn't want to be seen yet. A coffee cart rolled past. He stepped out of the way. Yo. He turned. Kuro was leaning against a doorway, sleeves rolled up, lanyard around his neck. He had a binder tucked under one arm and an iced coffee in the other. Somehow, even in this chaos, he looked like he'd slept a full 8 hours, worked out, and charmed a barista on the way in. You made it, Kuro said, smiling like they were friends. Kenma blinked. It's work. Right. I keep forgetting you're allergic to small talk. Kenma didn't answer. He was trying not to look at how Kuro filled out that button-down shirt. You okay with a quick walkthrough? We're just framing the intro segment. Couple camera placements, test lines, nothing intense. 5 minutes, tops. Test lines. Kuro raised a brow. You read the call sheet, right? I skimmed it. Kuro gave him a long, flat look, equal parts amused and exhausted. All right, come on. Let's make you look like you didn't roll out of bed and walk into the building on instinct. Kenma didn't say it, but that's exactly what he had done. The prep area was tucked behind a black curtain. It was quieter, cooler, lit like a tech expo booth. Kenma took a water bottle from the corner table and slumped into one of the chairs. A stylist hovered nearby. Mind if I? Kenma sighed but nodded. She ran a comb through his hair, adjusted his collar, dabbed something on his face. He tolerated it with the resigned stillness of someone used to this part of the process. He glanced up once and caught Kuro watching from across the room. Not staring, just observing. Focused. Kenma looked away. 5 minutes later, they were on set. Kenma stood under a soft ring of lights. Kuro handed him a mic pack, which he clipped to his hoodie without help. The crew bustled around them, checking levels, adjusting settings. The director called out angles. Kenma didn't catch most of it. Then someone said, rolling in 3, 2. Kenma looked straight into the lens. Nothing. Someone off camera coughed. Kenma blinked. What? Just introduce yourself, man, Kuro said, laughing softly. Talk to the audience like they're your stream chat. I don't talk to my stream chat. Kuro grinned. Exactly. Kenma glared. The camera kept rolling. After 6 takes, they had 3 usable intros. Kuro ran them through the next segment, a mock Q&A format that would later be cut and rearranged in post. Kuro read cue cards. Kenma gave short, clipped answers. He hated repeating himself, hated smiling when it wasn't natural. He fidgeted with the mic wire, stared past the camera, muttered under his breath when he stumbled on a line. Kuro noticed. Of course he noticed. You alright? Kenma didn't look at him. Do I look alright? You look like you're doing a hostage video. Kenma shot him a look. Aren't I? Kuro laughed again, then said something to the director. They called a 10-minute break. Kenma walked off set without a word. He found a quiet corner, technically a storage area, but no one was using it. A folding chair, a plastic bin of wires, the hum of air conditioning overhead. He sat down and scrolled his phone. Blank screen. No new texts. He didn't know what annoyed him more, the cameras, the people, or how Kuro just fit here. Of course he did. That kind of person always did. Loud, confident, people person, human golden retriever in business casual. Kenma hated people like that. Except, Kuro wasn't just loud. He was sharp, observant, and he didn't baby Kenma, which was rare. He pushed, but not too hard. He joked, but never mocked. He smiled like he knew 100 things he wasn't saying. 10 minutes later, Kuro found him. Thought I'd lost you, he said, holding out a fresh drink. Black, no sugar. That's still your thing. Kenma narrowed his eyes but took it. How do you know that? I read your assistant's onboarding notes. Kenma made a face. That's creepy. It's research. They sat in silence for a minute. Kenma sipped his coffee. It was exactly the way he liked it, which made it worse. You don't like cameras, do you? Kenma didn't answer right away. I don't like being seen unless I'm choosing how. Kuru nodded, like that made perfect sense. This show isn't about making you something you're not. If anything, I want you to be the weird, blunt guy who doesn't smile on cue. That's the brand. I don't have a brand. You are the brand. Kenma stared at him. You sound like a TED Talk. Kuru smiled. You sound like someone who keeps saying yes even when he wants to say no. Kenma opened his mouth, then closed it again. Too sharp. They went back to set. This time, the energy was different. Kenma didn't try as hard. Kuru loosened the format. They riffed off each other more. Kenma gave a sarcastic answer. Kuru volleyed it back with a grin. The crew laughed. It was not terrible. At one point, someone asked Kenma a question about competition. Do you think being an esports player is as intense as traditional sports? Kenma smirked and said, depends. Can your average volleyball player hit a frame-perfect combo under 80 ping in 2 hours of sleep? Kuru clapped a hand over his heart and went, ouch. That felt targeted. It was. The camera kept rolling. They wrapped by 3 p.m. Kenma packed his gear quietly. Kuru walked him out to the car like they were coworkers or friends or something in between. At the curb, Kuru said, you did great today. Kenma shrugged. I did okay. That's your version of great, right? Kenma looked at him. Kuru wasn't smiling this time. Just watching. Still, do you always make people this uncomfortable? Only the interesting ones. Kenma stared for a moment longer, then got in the car. He didn't text that night. Didn't game, didn't stream. Just lay on the couch, cat on his chest, thinking about Kuru's voice saying, you are the brand. He didn't know what to think of it. Part 4 coming soon.